Oh, it's pre-recording already. Great.
Well, hi everybody. Welcome to the webinar today. We're excited to have you. I think you all are getting let in as of now. So welcome. And if you feel so obliged, please put in the chat where you're from. We're so excited to have you all here, and we love to see where everybody is tuning in from. As you guys can see, from the title slide, we're going to be learning about giving funds and links, tips, tricks, and best practices. So we'll wait a few minutes for more people to get here, but we wanted to welcome you, and we are really excited for today's webinar. I am tuning in from San Diego, California. What about you, Daniel?
From the Boston, Massachusetts area. So we are on opposite ends of this
We're
country for
covering
sure.
the US, yes.
We are spread out. Oh,
Okay,
we got
Florida's in the
Florida.
house.
Now we just need
Nice.
something northwest, and we got like every corner.
Love it. Tennessee. Love to see it. Welcome, welcome. Mississippi. Hey, we're covering it. I mean, everybody's here. Let's
That's,
go.
I love it, and hopefully everyone's having as nice of weather as I am having because I it is like 78 degrees and sunny with a light breeze here. It is the perfect time to be in
Nice.
Boston.
Texas is in the
So
house. Nice. Yes, I know. Most places, I mean, that's normal for California, dare I say.
uh,
But yeah, I've
I've
heard
heard.
there's some heat waves going around. So hopefully everyone's got some good weather today.
Yeah, we passed the 90s a couple days ago. I was glad for that to go.
Yes,
Uh,
good. If you're just tuning in, we'd love to hear where you're from. Welcome to the webinar today. We'll get started in a minute or so. But so happy to have all of you here, and we're excited to learn about giving funds and links today. Yeah, the heat waves are yikes. They're bad. We actually had a little rain here in San Diego the other day, which is super abnormal for us. So we were like, hello, is there rain?
Wait, you guys get rain?
I know. Any weather of any kind is a shock to us here in Southern California. So,
South
all right,
Dakota,
well,
nice. Welcome.
I'm going to go ahead and get started. We're a minute in here, and so I don't want to waste any more of our time. Welcome to the webinar. We're learning about giving funds and links today, tips, tricks, and best practices. I want to introduce ourselves. I'm Haley, and Daniel is also here with us today, and we are a part of the education team with customer support. Customer experience is our number one priority here. We are by your side for your growth, and we really want you guys to be able to simply serve your churches and organizations. And so that's what these webinars are for. We have a fun question today. So in the chat, if you want to comment what your church's VBS theme was this year, or what it will be, or a favorite theme you've had in the past. Daniel, I know that you were recently helping your kids out with VBS. What was the theme?
Yeah, it was together, and it was basically like in a castle trying to rescue the damsel or princess together. And so it was kind of fun. There's a lot of good
Oh,
unifying elements within it.
that's awesome. Yeah, I remember way back when I served at a VBS and they did like the fruits of the spirit. So it was like all fruit themed, and that one was really clever and fun. So, yes, please enter in your comments about your VBSs. We're excited to hear about it. Us here at Tithely, just giving you guys more of an overview of our products. Today, we'll obviously be focusing more on the finance side of things, but we do have some great tools when it comes to communicating with your organizations, with messaging sites, apps, and then the media bank. And then we also have a great people space to manage your members, and highly recommend checking out Breeze or Elvanto for your church's needs when it comes to church management. And we have other webinars that will be coming out reviewing more of these great tools within the CX team. Also today, if you have any questions for us, please use the QA option in the bottom of your screen. This is what Daniel will be monitoring the entire time. And so we'll be able to answer any of your questions there at the end. And we won't necessarily be monitoring the chats for questions. So use the Q&A for those questions as we move along through this webinar. So let's get started. So really what we'll be highlighting today is special mid-year giving. I know that in the middle of the year, it is a kind of unique time for giving at our churches or organizations. And so some of the unique giving moments that happen. I know for my particular church, we do special missions right around this time of year. As we've discussed, we have youth camps or vacation Bible schools are really common this time of year, or just general fundraising can happen during the summer, going off and going out and serving your communities, or just prepping for the end of year if you have certain goals you want to reach with your church. And so that's really what we'll be covering today. So we're going to specifically review giving funds and your giving form first, talking about how do we manage our funds, how do we set up that giving form for our members, and then just kind of talking about how to share it with our congregation. So I'm going to go ahead and just jump right into an account here. I am logged in as the account owner. So what you guys will see as I interact with the space will be what the account owner experience is. You can also have admins with full access have this experience as well. The only thing that will be different for them would be access to the billing area, which only the account owner has. So as I log in, I'm going to go ahead and select giving here. You'll notice this red error banner at the top. This is a common bug that's happening in most Tithely accounts right now. So if you are seeing that, that's totally normal. And if you ever see things like that, like a bug, we have a chat down here that is directly connected to our support team. So please feel free to reach out to them if anything looks fishy on your account or you see those banners and they don't look normal to you. But we may see that a couple times here. It's totally normal, and we are working on resolving that for us. But this is our giving space. Right now we're in the transactions area, and I'm actually going to jump over to fund management in our menu. And here we're just going to take a look at the different funds that my church account has set up. So obviously we have our general offering here, and we'll talk soon about how to add that fund. But anything that is set up here at the top, I'm actually able to drag and drop these menu options. And the one at the top is going to be my default. I also can set it as the default if I use text giving, and that's what this little label here is for. But if I want it to be my default in my giving form, I need to drag it to the very top of my menu. So that's what general offering is for me. And then if I click this blue arrow, we'll see all the different settings I have for that particular giving fund. So we'll see the name that I've set, and then these different settings here, like do I want it to be tax deductible or not? And do I want it to be visible on my form? So I can remove visibility if I have a certain fund that is no longer applicable. So that being said, we see that I had an Easter egg hunt fund, which is pretty outdated at this point. So when I click in, I can either make it invisible from my form, or I can even archive the fund. So I'm going to go ahead and do that by clicking archive. And here that has disappeared from my giving form so that my members can no longer use it. Archive is important and not deleting it. There's no way to delete a fund because people will donate towards that fund and then it is labeled in your transaction. So you never want to completely delete a fund because it is connected to donations that have been made. And so archiving means it's not available to be used anymore, but I do still have those labels in my transactions, which is great. And so now, as we're talking about these special giving opportunities and unique moments that happen, I'm going to come up here to the Add Fund button. And this is where I'm able to add in these special circumstances. And so I'm going to go ahead and put special missions as our example for today. This is going to be specifically my church gives to Mexico. So I'm going to go ahead and just add that in there as a specifier since we already have a missions giving fund here. And again, I'm just going to make sure that all my settings are correct, and then I'm going to save as a new fund. And so that's actually popped up here to the top. So if I do want for the summer this to be my default fund, I can keep it there, or I can bring my general offerings here to the top and make sure that that is my default. And then this is a second option in the drop-down menu. I'm going to go ahead and pause there. Daniel, is there anything specific that I should point out before I continue, or are we good?
No, this is awesome. I
Awesome.
appreciate this.
No, no problem. So once we have the fund management all set up here, we're going to go ahead and head over to the giving form. So the giving form, what's great is this is our little preview here of what our members will see when they look and give on our giving form. This isn't interactive, so you don't want to go ahead and fill out anything in here. It's more of just a visual example, and I'll show you how you can actually interact with the form once we're ready. This is the link and embed area that we'll cover after we're done setting up the styles and settings. So up here in this mini menu under the settings area, I'm going to go to styles. Some of you may have multiple locations. I know for my church, we have 5 different chapters. So you just want to make sure that the specific location that you have is selected. And then you can go ahead and make your changes visually to your form. So you'll see it on the right when I go ahead and change the shape of my buttons. I'll be able to see that happening on the direct right-hand side preview. I can change my font, my primary colors, and once that's all set to the way I like, I can go ahead and save my changes at the bottom. The next area that's important is the settings of my form. So I'll click that up here in the top menu, and again, making sure my location is correct. And then here I'm able to toggle on and off these different settings. So for example, if I want my church name at the top, this is important for my congregation because again, we have different chapters. And so it's always good for us to have the chapter title at the very top of the form so people know they're giving to the right place.
Hmm.
We can also have like address fields. You can include it or not include it. It just depends what people information you really need for your particular congregation. We can choose to force the donors to have a specific fund. So that means if you really want, for a specific time of year, again, for them to only be giving to one giving fund, you can kind of set that on the form and kind of remove the options, but we won't use that today. And then the fees is at the very bottom of the form here. As you guys know, there is a transaction fee when giving through Tithely. And so this is where you can actually decide, do you want to give your donors the option to cover that fee? Or do you want to remove that option? You can also set it to a yes or a no. And so this is how you're able to kind of toggle on and off those options for the particular needs of your members. I love using this for our church, and it's been really helpful for just covering those fees for us. And then lastly, there's a couple areas here. If you have member IDs, backdates, the memo is great for adding in comments here if you want your members to be able to say something on their donation. And then once you have all these settings ready for your form, you go ahead and save your changes at the bottom. So once everything's good to go, that's when we can head back to this link embed area. Some of the
Can I
things I'll
pop something in there real quick?
please do.
So in that settings area down the bottom, the redirect donors to a custom page, what I really love about that is you can actually create a landing page on your website, and when they give, it will redirect them automatically to that landing page. And so I've seen a lot of churches create like a thank you video or a social media landing page or just a follow us page or events page. And so it's a great
Yeah.
opportunity to create a page and then direct where people go after they give so you can kind of control what they get to see next and what you think is most important. And so definitely use that custom redirect donors to a custom page link. It's super helpful for people.
Yeah, no, it's super helpful. And then they're not just left with nowhere to go after they give. So that's really smart. So once you do have everything set to your liking, something I like to point out here, these are kind of the most common website providers. So you can either use Tithely sites, and then we've got Squarespace, Wix, and WordPress. So these are basically your embed codes that will place your form into your website for you. So that's what all these arrows are for. Then we have a couple different link options here. So you could either just copy the direct link, and we're going to go visit this in a second for your form. You also have the embed code. If you have some more tech savvy people on your staff that want the actual code, you can copy that here. Or if you want a live kiosk, so sometimes we'll have events where you're in person and you want people to be able to donate on your iPad right then and there. This is a kiosk URL where people are able to pull that up on an iPad and just give live right there. So that is a great link to have as well as more specifically for our experience and what we're talking about today is those special events. And that's where the create a custom link comes in handy. This is where I can, let's say for a youth camp, I want to set it for, a specific amount. Like here's a registration amount and I want to use the youth camp giving fund. Or if there's a certain amount that I hope people are giving towards the missions, I can go ahead and set a specific amount. If I leave it blank, they'll be able to choose their own amount. And I can set that special missions fund that we set up here. And then I can create that custom link where I can actually share that specific link with my congregation, and it immediately draws them over to the special missions link that I'm needing them to use for this time of year. Um, and the last thing I wanted to cover too in this like special area is an area that my church uses very often, which is the QR code. So this is going to be specifically for this giving form URL link. just our general form. You can use this QR code. You can either download it or copy it. And my church actually places these in the slides at church on Sunday. So when we do all give our contributions, we're able to just simply scan it with our phones. It's really user friendly. And I really love seeing how easy it is for us to go ahead and get linked up to the form. But let's go ahead and jump into the form and take a look. So this is my live giving form. This is what it's going to look like for people who have a donor account. I'm like currently logged into my donor account, and I can show you guys later what it looks like without being logged in. But that's why my payment method is saved here. But here we'll see everything, all the settings that we've made set up here. And I can actually like live test out a donation, which if you're newer to Tithely, we highly recommend doing this. Go ahead and doing a test donation and experiencing what your donors experience with your form is super helpful for you knowing exactly what they'll go through. And here we'll see that we can go ahead and choose from all of our options. I think I haven't refreshed my page, so our new giving fund isn't there. But once I refresh, there it is. So I can go ahead and give to my special missions here. And what's really cool as well, Tithely has an option for reoccurring giving, which we always highly recommend to just let your church know about. I know for me, this has been huge for my personal giving at my church that I'm able to set a monthly reoccurring giving. And that way it just pulls out whenever I get my paycheck. My donation is pulled out right away for me. And it's so helpful for knowing that we have that consistent giving happening through our church. And I can add in all my information here. My payment method is saved. I can decide if I want to cover my fees, add a memo, and then I'd be able to give my donation. In the circumstance with this contact details, just know the members will have to fill that out every single time. If it's not filled out, it won't let them give. So that's where you can make the decision if you want the full details required when the form is made, or like we showed you before, you can remove that. But any questions here, DMAC, before I move on?
No, this is excellent. Thank you.
Awesome. So that's our giving form. Like I said, I believe when I log out, it should look pretty much the same. Here's that example there. So this is if someone doesn't have a donor account at all. They'll have the option to sign up or
Mm.
log in if they want, but the form still looks really beautiful and they're able to give without having an account, which is really, really useful for new donors or new members or one-time attendees. They can come give to your church and not have any issues with doing so. So that's really, really great. So that's sort of the fund management and giving form options when it comes to that special giving. Again, there's so many useful areas there. But one of the other options that we allow at Tithely here is the pledge campaign. And this is more of like a long-term goal. And so this is going to be something that like before the summer even begins, you're able to set this up. Or for our church, for example, our special mission starts right now in July, and then we have
Mm.
all the way till December to give towards that special missions. And so a pledge campaign is perfect for something like that. And as well as for like end of year giving, if you're trying to reach a goal by the end of the year, pledge campaigns are great. So let's go ahead and cover some of that. I'm going to jump in. Pledge campaigns is also under the giving menu here. And I set a filter for my live status. I have different pledges that have happened, like some of my pledges are archived or they've been completed. So if we look at that, I'll go ahead and apply that filter. Looks like I don't have any completed ones as of now, but I can go ahead and pop in live. And when I apply that filter, my building campaign is currently going. And so this is for basically this congregation that I have set up here wants to have a building by the end of 2025. So we've started the pledge campaign just recently, and we have till December to raise the money for that. And so that's what that looks like. And I have it enabled and ready to go. But what we'll do is we'll actually jump into making a brand new pledge campaign so you know exactly what that process looks like. So I'll go up to the top right-hand corner and click New Campaign. And like I said, we'll probably end up going with special missions. And we'll do Mexico. And then again, depending on how many locations you have, make sure that's set to the right thing. And then we have our fund set up here. So Special Missions Mexico is the fund that we've already set up previously. So now it's ready for our pledge campaign. We can go ahead and set our goal. And then we can decide that today's our start date and we want to have all the missions collected by end of the year. So December 31. And then we can continue. Now that we've set that up, we're able to go through, and if at any point you need to come into details and change any of those things, the things that cannot be changed after you've set it up are the location and the fund. But everything else, the title, the amount, and the dates can be edited, and just make sure to save your changes if you ever edit those areas. And so this is where we're able to use the free Tithely Media tool. So we'll go ahead and add media. Here you're able to upload your own images, of course, but I already have my logo uploaded. So I'm going to go ahead and select it and then go ahead and save and add it to the section. Click it and then save and close. It should add it directly into the church logo area. It's white, so it's hard to see, but that's my church logo. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my feature photo. So this is going to be something like what I want the pledge to look like. And so I already saved a cute little photo here from a school full of kids, and that's going to be the image that I want to add to my section. And so I'm going to go ahead and save and close that. There it is. And then if I have a feature video that I want included, I can put that link here. This is going to be a Vimeo link or a YouTube link. That could be my feature video here. And then we've got other details for our pledge campaign. So I can add a tagline. And then description would be, special mission giving for Mexico. And then if you have a description, thank you. And you could add more about like what is the money going towards in Mexico? How is it supporting that special missions, of course. So I'm not going to go too grave into detail here, but you're able to add absolutely anything you're looking for. And then as well, we're able to change our font. It has like a funny little sentence here showing you what that font will look like. And then you're able to change the primary and secondary colors. And again, as always, save your changes, save your changes, save your changes so
Hit
that it all
save.
shows up. Yes. So once I have everything set up here, I'm ready to enable my form. And so I'll actually come up here to the top right-hand corner. And right now it's toggled off. I'm going to toggle it on. And now I'm live. So that means I can actually jump over here into my web page and go ahead and copy my web link. And we're going to go ahead and open that in a second. Another area you'll see here, we have all of our menus. Notifications is another area that we can decide, do we want all of our admins to get notifications about our pledge and when we get pledges, or do we not want that to happen? And so that's something you can kind of set to, again, your own preferences. And then you're also able to draft up a thank you message when the pledges are given. So that's huge for being able to just thank your donors and let them know how you feel about them giving to that mission. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my web link and then go ahead and we're going to open that pledge up here. So here is our page, and this is the pledge that we just set up. And so it's really nice because again, we have our feature picture here, we have give to special cause and all those things that we set up. And then people are actually able to go in and make a pledge. And so this is what that form will look like. Again, this is all based on those designs that we've set up. So people are able to set a pledge, and this will be like the total amount that they give for the entire pledge. And then they're able to set up like a recurring giving of how much they want to pledge over a certain amount of time. They'll be able to set their dates of when they want to start and stop their pledge giving, and then they can keep going through the form and filling it out. Again, another great option for you is to fill this out as you're the admin of this account. You want to know what that experience will look like. And so let's say I want to give a total pledge of 1,000 for towards this special missions. It's going to let me know down here what my pledge plan will look like specifically. I'm giving on a weekly frequency, and it's going to show me the dates that I'm starting and stopping. And then this is kind of like letting me know. So your weekly donations will be this amount, and you'll give a total amount of gifts of 24 gifts. So if I create my pledge, it's going to go ahead and load for me. And then it's going to walk me through again all of these specific, like setting up my payment method for those pledges. Do I want to cover the fees for those pledges? And then I can go ahead and fund my pledge. So that's kind of the full walkthrough of what pledge campaigns look like. And then once your donors do give, under this donor area here, you'll be able to actually look at, and you'll see there I have started a pledge. And so you'll be able to see right now I'm low risk. Once I put in my amount, I should be green lit, which means like I have my payment method saved, and it means that I'm basically a really likely donor because I've set up reoccurring gifts. If people go through the process of a pledge and don't put in a payment method, eventually the system will show you those are high risk donors because they haven't set it up fully. And those are people that you can actually reach out to and say, hey, did you want to finish setting up your pledge? You haven't finished the process, and be able to send them that link again. And they're able to use that exact same web link to go in and finish out the rest of the setup for their pledges. And so this is a really great area to look at and be able to track your donors. And then the dashboard gives you just overall stats of how close you are to finishing out those pledges. So very, very cool stuff, and highly recommend using that for kind of long-term giving goals.
Mind if I jump
Last,
in there?
please do.
So another cool element of the pledge campaign is one, the range that you've set it up from, which is like today till the end of the year. Anyone who gives using that giving link, if it's on their giving form, it will automatically incorporate their donation into the pledge campaign. And so
That's
if they
correct.
never set up a pledge, but just wanted to give money, that still will record, like if I gave $100 today, but I didn't do any of the pledge elements, it'll just give it right in there for you. And so even if you people don't want to set up a pledge campaign, it's a helpful tool just to know that you can collect the money and still see how much has been donated through that tool. Um, we do have a
Absolutely.
we do have a question here I want to answer real quickly out loud if you don't mind. Valerie asked a question and she said that they use their pledge campaign for their annual operating fund. The members who pledge now are peer and people, which is what should happen. But they didn't set up passwords that will allow them to do other features when we launch. We want to encourage them to do recurring for their pledge. We need direction from the setup and log in and set up a password. And so with that one there, if they're already in your system and they used an email when they created their pledge campaign, they can just do forgot password.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if there was no other information given when they created their pledge, they're going to have to create a new account. And if there's no email associated with their pledge campaign, it won't matter. But I believe there has to be an email, right? Go back into the form to fill out. Do they have to put their email in there? No, they can just put the pledge
They
in.
do. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, they always have to require an email. And so, yeah, just
So
to cover what Daniel was reviewing. So, it's true. If someone just uses your giving form, the one we set up before, and they give to the Special Missions Mexico Fund, it's connected to that pledge. So, the good news is that any donation made to that fund will be included in the reporting for the pledge. So that's really exciting. You don't have to wonder, oh, I wonder if people didn't give through that pledge, that it's not showing up in my pledge. It will all go towards that goal, which is really, really helpful. And then, yes, what Daniel's saying is our system is connected all through emails. So if any of your members give a donation, they will always be required to add an email. And so that kind of marks a record for them under that email for any giving that they do, whether it's under the giving form or the pledge or anywhere else in our Tithely system. And that email makes them an account. And you're right, sometimes they won't set up a sign in, but all they'll have to do is, again, go anywhere in the account, whether it's under the pledge campaign area, this giving form area, and as long as they are donor app area as well. And when they go to the login area, they'll just go to forgot password. Even though they never set one up, it's basically still going to recognize their email and send them in the exact direction to setting up an actual password to get in, if that makes sense. So that's
that's
the
great.
best way to like point them, yeah, to get help and how to log in. And once they set up one password for that email, that works for the entire account. It works in their donor app, it works in their giving form, it works on the pledge campaign. Their email will always be connected to that password moving forward. So I hope that helps.
And then a couple other questions that, if you don't mind, make sense to
Yeah,
answer
let's do it.
now. You can change, David, you asked, can you change the name of a pledge campaign? Yes, if you want to show that real quickly, Haley. Um,
Absolutely. So when you have a pledge campaign set up, right now we're in our special missions one. If I wanted to change the title, I'd go to details and then simply come in here. And if I was like, oh, it's not for Mexico, it's going to be for somewhere else, or I just want it to be general special missions, I can literally do that and then save your changes, save your changes, save your changes.
Perfect. There's another one with giving forms. We'll get to that in a second. Um,
Yeah,
Also, Jeff, you entered in the webinar chat in the Q&A is more helpful, but unfortunately, everyone who gives online has to use an email. There's no other way to avoid that. It's more for tracking purposes and receipt purposes, and so we don't have a workaround. You can collect the donations in cash or check and then do it through admin batch giving, but short of that, there's no other real option just so you know,
That's
Jeff. But that
correct.
wasn't a formal question. That's over on the side there. I just wanted
No,
to
that's
point that out.
great.
So,
Yeah, for older
oh,
congregants that don't want to use email, I would agree with Daniel that using this admin batch giving area, we don't have time today to review it, but it's something to check out. We do have some help articles that also walk through how to use it. And that's where exactly what Daniel said. You can collect check or cash in person, and then you can actually record that here. And in admin batch giving, you can set the fund to your special giving fund, and that will again be added into your pledge or added in whatever records you need for that special occasion or whatever they're giving to. So yes,
cool. And the last one, I'll address another webinar chat again. Pop in the Q&A. But Roger, you said so the pledge, the only way for people to give is through Tidely. Similarly, if you have people donate through cash or check, go to admin batch giving, select that fund, and it will automatically be incorporated into that pledge campaign. So you'll be able to still keep those totals going. The pledge won't be updated for the person specifically, but the donation will be recorded in that pledge. So thank
correct.
you,
Yep.
Haley. I appreciate that.
Of course. And then the final thing we're going to review is just this idea of reporting on these special occasions. If you want to see how close you are to your goal, again, the pledge campaign tool helps you do that, which is really nice. But if you just want to use a giving form link and go ahead and make that special fund, there are some really helpful tools within the actual transactions area. So I just wanted to review some of those things. So here we'll see that we have filters here at the top. These are all of our transactions for all of our locations and all of our funds listed here. So if I want to come to the filters area, I can actually go into funds and specifically select one of these special giving opportunities and apply that. And then it's going to show me the gifts that were specifically given to just that fund, which is really, really helpful for me when I want to pull reports. And so I specifically clicked the building one because our mission ones I just created, there haven't been any donations made to that one yet, but our building fund, there's been a few donations made. And so I'm going to go ahead and head up here to this 3x3 square. This is columns, and this is basically the information that I'm seeing here live on my screen. I get to decide what information I want to see. So I only have one location for this particular church, so I'm going to go ahead and take that away. I don't need that. But maybe I want to see the net amount and whether they covered the fee. I would like to see that my fund is correct. Maybe I want to know the memos or the deposit date. Any information that I want in this report, I can literally click that checkbox and now they're showing live here. Once I have it exactly the way I want it, I can come up to this little eyeball up here, select it, and this is our views. I'm able to actually create a view with all the filters that I've used here. And so let's say I want to say this is our building campaign little view, and then I can create new view. That way it saves all of those filters. And so when I come in on my day-to-day basis to see how we're doing, I can go over to transactions here, click the down arrow, and now I have my building campaign funds set up here and all those filters set up. So as gifts continue to match these criteria, like basically the only criteria is the fund was the building fund, I'll see all those gifts listed here. And once I do have all of those donations and I want to pull that information, I can just finally go, I need to set like a certain date range. So I'm going to choose my location. So I have that set. Again, I only have one, so it won't change any of the information. And then I need to set a date. So I'm going to choose the dates that I set the actual campaign. So that's the first. And then I can go till today's date technically, or I can go all the way to December and just say anything between the two dates of my pledge. I can basically set that as my dates. And oh, I wasn't paying attention to when the gifts were given. So let me go and fix that really quick here. Let's open it up to May for my building fund. These are older than I thought, so I'll go all the way to January and hopefully that grabs them. That's okay. Anyways, I'll pick the date ranges that match the actual gifts given. So let me go ahead and clear this out and then hopefully I can see the dates of my actual gifts here. Go back to my fund. Here they are. So it looks like these were given. Oh, these were set back to like 2024. And so anyways, I would set my my filters correctly, the date filters correctly. This is kind of an older account that we use for these trainings. But once the dates are set correctly, I can go up to this top right-hand corner, and this is our export option. It's going to pull a CSV file, and then I can pop that into a simple Excel spreadsheet, and that's where I'm able to make these really helpful charts to see how I'm doing in my giving for the special reporting for just each of these special occasions. So sorry for the confusion there on those dates, but I hope that all made sense. And now we'll have time just to ask any further questions on what we've reviewed today. But I hope this was helpful for those really unique cases in the middle of the year for special giving. So, Daniel, any follow up questions? Anything further that people had questions on?
I think I've answered most questions, but if you want more details, if you've asked a question, feel free to pop it back in the chat and we could talk about it live because we'll definitely take some time here to walk people through what they need.
Yeah,
Um,
I think if we have the extra time, I might as well go over admin batch giving since that was something that came up twice, which I'm happy to
yeah,
do. So let
it's
me
a good
go ahead
idea.
and make sure I have this set up here just so you guys can see if you do have donors giving through any other type of giving that you'll be able to do that easily and smoothly.
Or
Um,
while you're doing that, I'll even answer another question a little more in depth. Someone asked, how do you get a congregation with people over 70, like just older congregations, to get on board with
yeah,
recurring and donations? It really is
absolutely.
just, I think one of the best ways, I mentioned this in the answer, but create some champions in your church, people that are excited about the online giving to be available to help those. Because obviously, one person is going to have a hard time helping everybody. So that's one area. I also think if you bring a computer to your church and just show people on the side afterwards or before your service starts, that's another way to kind of help people guide through that. You can do it on a tablet and just kind of like, hey, let's walk through this, or a laptop. Hey, let's walk through how to set this up and give them an opportunity to ask questions in person. And then I think make videos, talk about it on Sundays. And we have a great launch kit that you can download from our Help Article Center that will walk you through, well, not walk you through, but give you a bunch of resources that can help you and your congregation get this rolling in a great way.
Awesome. I am almost set up here. Getting the right access to that area here.
The best part about that pledge campaign, I know you mentioned this, but I'll even bring it up, is it creates its own website landing page, which I've always appreciated too. That if you don't even have a
Oh,
website, people are just
nice.
using Facebook currently, it gives you a nice landing page for a website to send out that is just your pledge. And so that tool really gives churches the opportunity to share that information great way.
Absolutely. Okay, I've got it set up here. Let me get you guys a view of that. All right, so as we discussed, when you click giving, you'll have admin batch giving as an option here. This is gonna open us up into the oldest area of our Tithely account. As you guys, if you've been with Tithely for a long time or you're brand new, just know that Tithely's been through multiple chapters. And so we have kind of our oldest version that we'll be taking a peek at today. Admin batch giving is one of our few tools that's still located in the older version of the system, and our team is like slowly getting all of the tools moved over into this new system that we're looking at now. So much of the account has been updated. It's the newest version. However, we do have a few tools that are still hosted in the old version. So I'm going to go ahead and select this. You'll see it warn us that we're about to head to the old version. Don't be scared. And then it's going to go ahead and launch you into the older version. So some like ways to know it's the older version would be this menu over here. We always recommend only using the tools like admin batch giving for like in this version. So don't go clicking around on all these menu options. Just use the tool and then get back to the new version. I always let people know if you see the word new, that's the best way to get back to your new version, the version you want to be in. So look for these blue new labels, and that's how you get back over into that older account. But currently I'm in admin batch giving, again, in our older system, Tithely, and I'm going to go ahead and just click run transactions. So this is the admin batch giving form. It's going to basically lay out 3 forms that we're able to fill out. First thing you'll fill out is basically the donor information. Again, because this is a part of our older system, you're always going to want to fill out first and last name and the email. Email is going to be important. I know that we mentioned that some of the members that you guys are talking about don't have emails. And so what we recommend is doing you can leave it blank. That is an option. Our system is going to create basically a temporary false email and it's a holder email. So we'll kind of see what that looks like. And if I have time, I'll try to review that. But I'll go ahead and just use myself as an example and we'll go ahead and I'm going to add myself since I'm a new member here and it already has an email set for me, but I'm just going to go ahead and remove that and maybe I'll use my ulterior or my alter ego. And so this is like, let's say a new member or one of your members that you spoke about that does not have an email or does not want to use an email. So we'll go ahead and use that. I'm not going to use any of this information here. And then I'm going to go ahead and decide what type of giving did they give. So let's say they used a cash record and they gave, $10 towards the special missions fund. And then I need to add a date of when they gave it. So let's say that this person gave on Sunday, the 20th. You'll see once I finish filling out the form and everything that I need is included, this form will kind of glow green, and that means that it's ready to be processed. Again, it's really important to at least have a name at the least. Emails are really great if you can have it, and then go ahead and fill out all of these different informations here. You can do 3 forms at a time. Once you finish the 3rd form, a new form will pop up. So you can do 4, 5, 6. We do recommend not doing more than 6 at once, just so that the system isn't overwhelmed because it is the older version. But we're going to go ahead and process this cash donation, and then we'll see what it looks like. After this point, I would recommend already jumping into the newer version of the account rather than clicking any more of these buttons unless you want to go ahead and run that transaction. The people is hosted only in the new system. So I'm going to go ahead and just click people in my menu and I'm popped into the new system here. I always know it's the new system because the menu looks new and it's all these really fancy bubbles here. So when I go into giving, it may take a while for those cash donations to load. So I'm not seeing it listed here yet, so we can't really review that. But what will happen is once it loads, that cash donation will pull up here. I can see what type of giving they used by going into here and selecting payment type. And then that's going to show me here, these are different cash donations as examples. So these were all added in through the admin batch giving tool. And I can see that here through the cache. And then those are all listed here. And then those people will also show up in the people space. And so I'm going to jump in here and just show you a good example of what it looks like when an email wasn't provided. These are basically what they're going to look like. There's going to be sort of like a ulterior email that's set up for that specific donor so that our system has an actual email to assign to that donor to keep track of its giving. So if that makes any sense, it's not a real email and it's not something you want to use to communicate with anybody, but it helps our system to give them almost like an ID. This is a donor, they gave cash, and now it has this kind of holder email since the donor didn't provide an email for it. So I hope that all makes sense.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I just think encouraging people in your church to use their actual emails just so they can get the information of their donation, especially if you do admin batch giving to record to actually enter in a donation that's from a card. You want them to get that receipt, or you'll have to fill out that receipt yourselves. But we always want to make sure these churches are these people are getting their donations. Also, another really important thing: I once onboarded a church and they had about 15 different people all share the same email. That's never a good idea. Each person should have their own email if they're a family donating together and they don't mind their tax receipts being the same. But at the end of the year, when you get your tax statement, if you're sharing an email, that means you're sharing a tax statement. And so just keep that in mind as you're encouraging your members and donors to give. Use your own email. It's very important.
That's a great point. I think that is the most important reason why our system is so reliant on emails is for that end of year recording. When you want to do
Mm,
tax statements, we have a really beautiful tool. Again, don't have time to review that, but we will do
yeah.
webinars on that as tax season approaches. But the tax statements area, it basically helps create those tax statements for you and how it knows what each donor gave is based on emails. And so it's like, here's this email, here's all the donation records under that email. And now you're able to actually either email them their giving statement or print those out for them. So I know for those older members, they'd prefer like a physical document. And that's why not having an email for them is okay, because you can easily print it out and hand it to them in person. Or if you have their address, you can mail it to them. But the system does need something to identify that that is a donor that's given. And because names can be similar or the same, as kind of Daniel was mentioning, don't have the same emails. Some people, a John Smith, there could be multiple John Smiths, we don't know. And so you want to be careful with the system just using an email to recognize a donor rather than a name or anything else. So that is how our system kind of tracks that and keeps records of everything, which is really important for you guys at the end of the year. All right. Well, I think we'll go ahead and wrap up if there's no more questions. We highly recommend that you go and check out tithelyuniversity.com. This is a great place to find other webinars and tools and resources that you can use to learn about your entire Tithely account. And we are so grateful that you guys joined us here today. If you weren't able to make it, we will be sending out this recording. And if there's any other questions you have, we do have an amazing support team. So, Daniel, if you could stick in the support email into that chat so everybody has that. We are always by your side and for your growth. We really care about you guys individually and the members of your congregations. And so, our support team is probably one of the best I've seen in the industry, just really wanting to help with the specific needs because we know that each church is different, each church member is different. And so, we're there to support you and we're there to support your donors. So if you have any follow-up questions, please reach out to our team. We're here to help. And we're so grateful that you joined us here today.
Yeah. Thank you guys. We're going to close out here, but have a great rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye.